I was like, hell yeah, man, like that's sweet. I have to train anyway. So.
I'm Alex Del Sordo, and this is a Rower's Choice Athlete Profile. I'm Alex Del Sordo, and I'm a really lucky guy. I get to talk to Olympians like all day long now, and it's pretty fascinating and wonderful to hear their stories. And I got one from Canada. I got Carling Zeeman, a world-class rower that is competing in our Erg Challenge. So Carling, welcome to Athlete Profiles. Thank you for doing this.
Ooh, yeah, right on.
This is gonna be good. So this is a little bit shorter than what we normally do. Normally we talk a long history about your rowing career, but I wanna kind of get into the meat of it. So you've been rowing for quite a while. You are a Canadian. You are representing your country in the single. You were in the 2016 Olympics. When did you start rowing, and when did you realize that you're this good, that you're a world-class rower? Like, at what point did you take it seriously?
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm that good, but I'm trying to be. I started rowing in my first year of university, but I've been more or less competing.
So what year was that? Like, what year was that?
That was 2009.
Okay.
And I first got into a single in 2010.
Wow.
So I was actually pretty stoked that the Olympics, that I would be, going to the 2020 Olympics on like the 10-year anniversary. Obviously that's changed now, but whatever, 11 years.
So when you started rowing in Canada, rowing is a pretty big deal there. Did you have folks that you looked up to? Were there Canadian women that you were able to meet and be introduced to and look up to in that time when you started rowing?
Ironically, no. I had no idea what the sport was. I had no idea what I was getting into. I would still say to this day that a lot of my like sport heroes are in the sports that I did as a child. And which was speed skating.
Wow.
Obviously, like I have a huge amount of respect for the rowing legends of Canada and of the world, just knowing what they've done and can do. But it certainly was like totally new to me, like people would ask me, oh, do you know who so-and-so is or so-and-so? I'm like, no.
Nope.
Like, I don't know what port and starboard is.
So what made you want to get into a boat then? What was so fast? You're a speed skater. That's a huge sport. That's awesome. Like, what got you in a boat?
I actually really did not want to do sports in university. So that plan failed. At the time I joined rowing, it wasn't a varsity sport at Laurentian University, which is where I went. And that was perfect for me. There was no pressure, no expectations, I was like kind of growing as the sport was growing. So that was perfect. The only thing I knew about it was that rowing happened early in the morning, and I had grew up on a farm and did some farm work in my high school years, and I was like, yeah, I like mornings, like I can do this.
So this is pretty fascinating though. So I looked you up, to get a little bit more details of the interview, and I think it said you're 6'2", so you're like naturally like just taller than most women rowers anyway. That's amazing.
Yeah. Not great for a speed skater though, let me tell you.
So, but in, let's say you took your first stroke in a single in 2010. You were in the 2016 Olympics. That doesn't happen all that much to rowers. In 6 years, you went from just starting to being at the top of rowing, opportunities. How did that happen so quickly?
I think part of it was having a sporting background. So I knew the idea of working, and I knew the idea of, just like putting your head down and like just getting to it. And competing was something that came really naturally to me. The single is like a whole different beast.
Wow.
The first time I raced the single, I was so nervous. It was awful.
Just didn't want
But
to flip. I mean, the whole goal of that was just not to flip the single on your first race.
um,
Right?
it was. Oh, I can still remember it. It was a head race, and I remember asking my coach, I'm like, what happens if I flip? Like, do I swim out of the way? Do I try and get back in my boat? Like, what's the protocol here? She was like, you are walking back to Sudbury if you flip. So I
So,
didn't
but,
flip.
but
Um,
so you didn't flip. But you raced the Olympics. I mean, what kind of scores were you pulling on the erg to do this, and how much training were you going through? Because again, I mean, I've been rowing for 21 years, and I don't know a whole lot of people that go from nothing to in the Olympics in 6 years.
yeah, yeah. You kind of hit the nail on the head. I was quite strong on the erg, which is what accelerated my career. It just kind of, I think, attracted a lot of coaches to me.
So what was that? What's your 2K? What is your best 2K to date?
My best 2K is 6:27 point. This is embarrassing, but I'm not sure of the point. I have to look in my training journal for that.
Well, I'll tell you, just the fact that you said 6:27, it's not embarrassing if you don't know the point, whatever. That's an incredibly fast time. Now, I think I looked it up. You had or have a coach, um, Dick Tonks. Is he your current coach, or did he coach
Yep.
you? Yeah, is he
No, yeah,
currently your coach?
him. He's my current coach, along with Jeremy, who's our assistant coach. But yeah,
So I was interviewing Eric Murray last night, and he had Dick Tonks as a coach,
yeah,
and he told me just funny stories about how this guy's a no nonsense dude. Just get in the boat, you do exactly what he says to do, and
yeah,
he's obviously proven that he has won Olympic
yeah,
medals. So I mean,
yeah.
is he a tough guy to row for?
If you're a hard worker, not at all. I would say actually, I've gotten on with him really well. I think we understand each other um, as much as we need to, and that's just he gives instructions, and I trust him, and I do it no matter how crazy it seems. And I think he recognizes that. So there's a bit of trust that goes both ways. But yes, Eric would definitely would know the grind.
Yeah, no, really. So I heard he told me yesterday that he would do 260,000 meters in a week rowing for Dick Tongs. I mean, are you doing that kind of volume in your training?
Oh yeah, I mean I've never broken it into meters, but we've definitely had some 300 plus K weeks, and that's like,
How do you do that in a single? That is insane amount of volume.
oh, if you think about it like that, you're like, I probably could have rode the Atlantic a few times over by now, like, but
That
yeah,
just, it's funny. I'm hearing you talk. You were 10th at the Olympics. I'm sure you have aspirations of winning the gold medal in
yeah.
2021, but you're so nonchalant about this. Like you race the single in the Olympics in less than 6 years. I mean, and you go with 6:27. You're one of the strongest women in the world right now, probably in the country with those scores. But you're so casual about it. It's amazing.
I think you know what so funny you catch me today. Like I'm out on the farm and we're just doing pretty humbling work. So you don't feel like such a hot shot out here, when you're
So
it's
how
60
so
degrees and you're just working your butt off. So I mean that's the good stuff.
I,
That's the
I
stuff
can
you should
appreciate
have.
that. So how have you managed to handle the delay in the Olympics? Like what has gone through your head and your mind and your body and your soul now that you know that it's still a year away?
Yeah, I mean the first week was a dark week. It was because you just don't know. No one knows. Like no one. no one has any idea. I mean, when Canada pulled out of the Olympics, that was about 24 hours of just not knowing if we would even be going, like if the IOC continued to actually host it this year. So that was an awful feeling. But so I guess in comparison to that feeling, a postponement is not nearly as bad. And for me, it was mostly about just developing a new routine. And I think the biggest shift was the mindset of not needing to reach a peak. You know, you're shifting from being your absolute best and like gearing up to race the world to, you know, just like you just want to make sure you hold on to that fitness because you've got another year and a bit to go. So you don't want to burn out.
So this leads us to our last part of the athlete profile, talking about our global challenge. How did you find the Rower's Choice Virtual Goal Challenge?
Instagram. I was stoked about it. I was just, yeah, I don't know, like I think I was tagged in a post or something, and I was
Yeah.
like, what's this? And then I did some research, and it's like it's pretty cool. I mean I've never done something like that. I was explaining it to my family the other day, and they were like, wow, like this might actually be, you know, kind of fun to watch.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is part of the athlete profile. So we're going to broadcast this to the world. And then as the tournament goes on, I'm sure we'll be talking about you because, you know, we expect you to do very well. But the prize money is a completely different beast. I mean, we're actually going after significant sponsors to grow that prize pool so that
Yeah.
we hope that if we get what we want to get, it could be $10,000 in your pocket if you win this tournament. I mean, would that, like, what would that do for you in training? I mean, would that just be a big support and help?
Oh man, it's like it's unreal. I mean, to be 100% honest, like I was ready to retire after this and, you know, start a job and like get going on life, and now it's just another year of not making that much money. So
Does Canada support you in any way financially with your training, or is this all friends and family and personal?
yeah, they do have we have a monthly stipend,
Okay.
um, based more or less off of merit, and uh, anything on top of that is up to the athlete. But
Well, here we are. I mean, here's a chance
yeah.
to potentially win thousands of dollars. I mean, this is the first of its kind, and I got to tell you, I am like extremely excited about this. And you have to be one of the favorites here going into this tournament. How do you feel about your chances?
I mean, I'm not gonna write anyone off. Like, I think everyone should join because that just makes it fun. It's like it's the fight that's fun, you know. Like it's the challenge. Um, so I wouldn't like it's dangerous to think like, oh yeah, that's a guarantee. But definitely the prize, I was like, hell yeah, man, like that's sweet. I have to train anyway, so
Yeah. Well, Carlene, this has been a pleasure, and thank you for being part of another athlete's profile, and good luck in the tournament.
yeah, thank you.